chat. Let's see there.
Hi, Nestor.
And we'll shortly also be live on YouTube.
Okay. Hi, Sri Sugiyarsi. Hi, Leticia. You see, all these people have been putting the chat up. I can't promise while we're going through the debate that I'll be able to keep up with the chat. I don't know whether you can see this. I have an iPad going, my mobile phone, and I'm on my laptop. And for someone of my age, that's a multitask too much.
Very impressive.
With the chat, I don't know whether you can see this. I have an iPad. You have an iPad.
Oh yeah, sorry, no. It interrupted for a second because the live stream, I was putting it on, and so we repeated you. I think that was the interruption. Because the music is coming from my computer sound. Yeah, we don't have a $500,000 studio here. It's my laptop.
Okay.
So it's all good. Yeah. So 2 more speakers hopefully coming in very soon.
Who are we waiting for, speaker-wise?
We have Sally Chan, and we're waiting for Charlene Allen and Miss Winnie Ely.
And Winnie.
Yeah.
Hi, Sally.
Or is Sally?
Hey, Sally.
Hi, hello, Kevin. Hello, Nigel.
Hi, Sally.
How are you?
Oh, fantastic.
Good, thank you.
I just want to show Nestor I'm wearing his Santa Thomas T-shirt from the conference there, 2011.
Oh, is it?
And I keep saying to him, look, it's worn out, Nestor. It's kind of nearly faded to kind of grey.
He's
No,
trying to
but I
get another
see it.
T-shirt.
Yeah, looks very good condition.
Yeah. Use more fabric conditioner.
Yeah.
He's 9 years old.
Wow, it's not bad.
It's lasted up pretty well, eh?
Okay, we have Winnie Ely joining
Hi,
as
Winnie.
well.
Hi, Winnie.
Hey, Winnie.
Hi there.
Hi.
Hi, Peter. Hi, Nigel. Hi,
Hey,
Sally.
hey.
Hi, Kevin.
Hello.
Hi.
Oh, nice meeting you.
Good to see
We're just
you.
waiting for Charlene.
Yeah.
Okay, and we now have 45 participants. Thank you, everyone.
And we're live on YouTube, but I don't know how much we've got there at the moment.
Oh, that's good. We're live on YouTube. Amazing.
That's scary.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Somebody's dragged me into the 21st century, obviously. Kicking and screaming.
We do our best. Oh, we have
Charlene?
no, we have Mandy.
Hi, finally I'm muted.
Sorry, Mandy.
Oh, good.
Hear me?
Where's the video?
I'm trying to put it on. Hang on.
Oh, yeah. No, I think you got it.
It's on and off. There you go. Now you're here.
Hi, Mandy.
Hi, Sally. Good to meet you.
Yeah, nice meeting you too.
Oh, Nestor wrote something to Nigel about his T-shirt. The T-shirt he can probably, very happy with it.
Yeah.
It's a collector's item. Better be careful.
Nestor, don't buy him another one. It's preferential treatment.
The strategy for free T-shirts work.
Yeah.
Yeah, I only need one every 9 years.
Yeah. Tell him to use fabric conditioner.
All right, we have Charlene joining as well.
Hi, Charlene.
Hi.
Hi, Charlene.
Hi,
There you are.
Good, thank you.
Okay, very good. And we're all fantastically on time. So I suggest we wait about 4 minutes according to my clock, and then I'll do some very short housekeeping announcements, and then Mandy will take it away, and then Kevin. So
Okay.
that's how it will be.
No problemo.
Can we see everybody here? Ah, yeah. Okay, Charlene as well. Oh, very good. Yeah, I'm still
Sally, it
figuring out how
must
to
be
speak.
very late where you are.
Yeah, I think Winnie as well. Is it Winnie? Are you in Hong Kong?
Yeah, it's only 9 o'clock. I'm in
Bedtime.
Hong Kong
Yeah,
too.
bedtime. It's bedtime for us.
No, Sally's in Singapore.
Yeah, I'm in
Oh,
Singapore.
are you? I
Yeah,
thought
not in
it's
Australia.
Same time
In
soon as
Newcastle in
Hong
Australia.
Kong.
How about you, Charlene? That looks like morning sunshine.
No, it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon nearly.
Right, but it's sunshine.
Yeah.
It's dark here.
Yeah.
So Kevin, you're also in Hong Kong, is it?
Yeah, Hong Kong. It's 9 o'clock coming up.
Yeah. Same time zone as Singapore.
Yeah. 2 more minutes.
Yeah, there's a question if we'll have access to the recording of the webinar. Yes, you will. We will have it up on YouTube. Unless something terrible happens, we will edit it a little bit. But normally you'll just get the uncut feed, so you can enjoy everything again from start to finish.
This is your chance to say something really controversial and find yourself on the front page of every newspaper tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll try to do that.
Yes, I don't know if any of our participants are journalists.
It's better money than academia. You're going to earn more than academia, trust me.
Ellie Buffwell said she might kind of connect from the THE.
All right.
Oh, okay. So it's still worthwhile making controversial comments. No, just for all the attendees listening, at the end of this, we will make all of you panelists. You can all speak, you can all show yourself. So don't worry, you get to be part of the party as well. We just want to keep it a little bit under control until then, because it is a professional debate after all.
Oh God, is it?
Oh, that's what I think. So. The other thing,
news to me. Nobody told me that.
Good job, you wore your T-shirt, Nigel.
Yeah, I'm glad I dressed up for it.
And the background is very nice too. Is that
Yeah,
a
good
limerick?
background.
Yeah, limericks changed since I was last there.
Yeah, they built a bungee jump there, I hear. Right behind me.
Yeah, I can see.
Called the AJ Hackett. Looks just like Queensland, doesn't it? Yeah.
All right. For the attendees, yeah, Kevin, he can basically he wants your comments at some point, and if you want to make a comment, you need to raise your hand. So there's an option in Zoom which is called raised hands. So can I? Oh, Mandy, we can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you, Mandy.
Mandy, we can hear you.
Some recorded speech.
No, okay, I think she. Anyway, if the attendees can try and raise their hand, just for now, we won't upgrade you to panelists right away. Then you can just give that a try. Yes, some attendees have found the button. Very good. Everybody, raise your hand, lift the ceiling, however you want to call it. Okay, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yes, people have found the button. Very good. And some people are quickly withdrawing the hand as well. That's probably very wise. Okay, so this works. That's very good. Kevin, you can see the raised hands as well in attendees.
Hang on.
Or maybe when I make you host, you can. But
yeah,
anyway,
I can't at the moment. I can raise a hand, but I can't see it until you. Oh yes, I can. I can see it already. Bing Shu Chang, Patmawati, and I'm very sorry, but one of our Russian colleagues. I can't quite read the Russian properly. Yep, got it.
Okay, very good. Then thank you very much for raising your hands and showing how it works. Also, please have your cameras ready when we do try to bring you on, because we do want this whole interactive thing going. So that's all the housekeeping notes that I have for you. Now it is the turn of Mandy Mock to give us the official introduction. And I need to withdraw my screen. Or no, I don't. Yeah, go ahead, Mandy.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the inaugural AppliedHE Squaring the Circle debate. My name is Mandy Mock, and I'm the founder and CEO of AppliedHE. AppliedHE is the new kid on the block for international higher education, ratings, and branding. Started the company in January this year after working for QS for 17 years. So thank you so much for joining our inaugural AppliedHE Squaring the Circle debate. Today's debate is led by the legendary debate master, Dr. Kevin Downing, Secretary to Council and Court, and Director of the Institutional Research Office of the City University of Hong Kong. He will be presiding over 4 outstanding speakers from different corners of the global higher education scene who have pledged to vigorously defend their respective positions. I will let Kevin introduce the passionate proposers and the awesome opposers. Now, before I hand over the mic, please allow me to thank the City University of Hong Kong and Universitas Airlangga for being the sponsors of this inaugural AppliedHE Squaring the Circle debate. Your support is greatly appreciated. And without further ado, allow me to hand the mic over to our debate master, Dr. Kevin Downey.
Thank you, Mandy. First of all, I'm going to ask for Peter to give me the power. The power. In other words, to give me control now as we enter the debate phase. So, and now I'm host. Okay, that's wonderful. Well, this is a very familiar format to those of you who know us all. The format is simply, before I introduce anyone, we have a proposal, which is the COVID-19 epidemic changes everything in higher education. Should really read the COVID-19 pandemic changes everything in higher education. And we're very pleased to have joining us today as debaters from the University of Limerick in Ireland, although the background to his picture is certainly not Ireland, the Associate Vice President for Global Engagement, well known to probably all of you. Please welcome Professor Nigel Healy. Welcome, Nigel. And you can't hear the claps from people but, just yet. And Nigel will be proposing the proposal. Ably seconding Nigel in relation to that proposal, we're very pleased to have from the University of Newcastle, Australia, Singapore campus, the Pro-Vice Chancellor Singapore and CEO, Professor Sally Chan. So welcome, Sally. And
Hi, everybody. Hi.
Good. And then we have the valiant opposers from Red Emerald and the IC Global Foundation in the United Kingdom. And I'll be there sometime towards the end of next week with my mask. Managing Director and co-founder, Ms. Charlene Allen. Welcome, Charlene.
Thank you, Kevin. Hi,
and last but not least, from Hong Kong, which is where I'm speaking from right now. So both Winnie and I are excused if we feel a bit sleepy because it's past 9 p.m. Private citizen and extraordinary debater. Many senior posts held in higher education over the last couple of decades. Please give a warm welcome to Miss Winnie Ely. Welcome, Winnie. It's lovely to have you on board.
Thanks, Kevin. Hello, everybody.
Right, that's great. So how does it go? Well, first of all, each of the speakers will have 5 minutes without visual aids, apart from that picture behind Nigel. They will have 5 minutes to outline their case. The proposer will speak first, followed by the opposer. So that's Nigel, followed by Charlene. Then the seconder to the proposer, Sally, will have her chance. And then Winnie will, sorry, who is the, just tell me who is the opposer. Is Winnie the opposer?
Sally's the proposer.
Yeah, I will be the first one to go.
Sally's up first.
The proposer. Okay, I put it down.
I've been demoted.
That's no problem. Let me just repeat that. Sally will begin, 5 minutes, proposal, no visual aids. And then who is the main opposer?
That's me.
Charlene. Charlene will then speak in opposition, followed by Nigel, who will second the proposition, and Winnie will have the last say as the seconder to the opposition. But before that, this is the interactive bit where it starts. We're going to have a poll. And in a moment, I'll open that poll for you to vote online, whether you support the proposition or whether you're against it. I won't tell you what my view is until the end. Once the 4 speakers have spoken, it's not a panel session, so you can then raise your hand and I will open your microphone so that you can make your point. Usual rules apply. For those of you who are not mathematicians, 10 is the one with a 0 after it. 10 sentences to make your point, no more. After 10 sentences, I'll shut off the microphone. Oh, the power, it's really wonderful. You get 10 sentences to make your point, but please, I won't count these in the sentences. first of all, say who you are and where you're speaking from. I think that would be quite helpful. Now, right at the end of the debate, after everyone's had a chance to have a say, I'm actually going to go back to the poll and you will have another chance to vote, and we'll see whether our proposers or our opposers have been successful in changing your opinion. Remember, we work in higher education. We're supposed to have open minds. I say supposed to have, but we are supposed to have open minds. So let's begin with the first poll. I'm going to give you 45 seconds to complete this. Trust me, that is more than long enough. You can get up and put the kettle on as well as vote during that 45 seconds. Here we go. I'm going to launch the polling now and allow you to vote. The panelists can vote as well. Ooh, the votes are coming in. It's looking very interesting. You see, I personally think most of you are wrong, but that shows how open my mind is. Okay, we're up to 30 seconds. So you have another 15 seconds to click the little the button. If you can't do that in 45 seconds, you shouldn't be in higher education. Okay, I'm ending the polling now. And now I'm going to share the results with all of you. The results are 81% agree. So an easy run for Sally and Nigel, and 19% disagree. I'm going to declare my position now. I'm with the disagrees personally. So let me just share the results.
Wow.
Okay, I hope everyone can see those. Right, we'll return to a poll at the end and we'll see if there's been any difference. Peter, you might have to remind me it was 81-19 when we come to the end.
Noted, noted.
Okay, without further ado then, I will hand over to Sally, and she has 5 minutes to make the case for the proposal. Sally.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to argue for the motion. The COVID-19 pandemic changes everything in global higher education. The worst consequences of the COVID-19 pandemic on the higher education sector are both immediate and can be anticipated and due for many years. Strategic policy choices will need to be made. These choices are likely to result in changes in sectoral operational practices, more profound than anything experienced for the past 50 years. There are 4 areas of impact I'd like to address. First is the finance model. In the past 20 years, many national governments have left universities to raise essential revenue through enterprises and fees, especially international student fees. The COVID-19 pandemic has resulted in the entire higher education sector facing financial shortfall. The effect of this has magnified in the loss of international students' fees. For example, Australia in 2020 will lose 3.3 billion Australian dollar, and by 2023, we lost $11.5 billion. There's also loss in domestic student revenue, particularly in price-sensitive postgraduate programs. There's a loss in commercial income, such as conferences, investment, rental. There's an immediate and longer-term loss in industry-sponsored research and a possible further reduction of public sector research funding. In response to the financial shortfall, the universities need to change. Government and the sector have to review higher education finance model. There will be major institutional restructuring and potentially extend to mergers of universities and takeovers within the sector. Departments will have to cut jobs, mergers with other departments, or being simply closed. International students' enrollment may not be back to normal in a short period of time. With world economic recessions, students may reconsider. Rather than studying in traditional 3 to 4 years degree, they may want a blended mode of learning or shorter duration of international studies, for example, 1 to 2 years articulation program. The needs of domestic students are changing too. They need short courses for upskills and reskills rather than traditional degrees. Universities need to be proactive in managing such change. In relation to the way that we deliver our education, the big change during and after this pandemic got to be the rise of online or remote education. The adopt of online solution in recent months has been unprecedented. In the short term, this is a first-aid solution. However, after academic and students use the technologies, there's a realization that online flexibility is absolutely critical for the sustainment of education. Some of the partnerships developed between university and online education companies will continue beyond the pandemic, with the online learning segment still comprising less than 2% of the $2.2 trillion global higher education market. The market is ready for disruption. We can expect a new model to emerge after the pandemic. Pedagogy will be more blended than ever. Remote learning, blended learning will be the new normal. In relation to curricula, enrollment in classes and majors will change. The full range of medical fields and IT will be more popular. Business and economics will be more popular than ever, given the needs of rebuilding nations' economy. Political science may have larger enrollment, given the extensive concern about surveillance and geopolitics. Other fields may shrink, partly due to the student voting with the feet, partly due to the powerful sense of national urgency expressing through government and funder. In relation to research, the COVID-19 affirms universities' significant role in research and development, but resources will be allocated differently from pre-COVID-19 time, as the pandemic and recovery fields are deemed more urgent. In conclusion, higher education will never be the same after the COVID-19 crisis.
Thank you very much, Sally, for keeping to time. I should just say to other speakers, when there's 30 seconds to go, I'll just do that. You don't need to see it. Okay. We have no bell to ring, so I'll do that instead. So thank you very much, Sally. And without further ado, I'm going to ask Charlene to outline the opposition to the motion. Go, Charlene.
Thank you, Kevin, and thank you, colleagues. So let me begin by saying there's no doubt this is a challenging time for global higher education, with close to 1.5 billion students no longer able to physically go to schools worldwide, and countless number of staff having to set up offices at home. These are tough times for many, but I think we need to set aside what our expectations, feelings, or desires might be, and look at this factually and make an assessment accordingly. When looking at the topic, I reflected on how I saw global higher education, and I see it in the following ways: the strategic approach taken by institutions, the platform for international research, the policy and implementation of global higher education, the collaborative provision or T&E, and finally, but certainly not the least important, the mobility of students and staff. And looking at that in three parts, Stephen Aaron's three parts of international studies, international education exchange and technical assistance, I'd like to start by looking at international education exchange. And there are many parts to that, but due to time, I'd like to focus on student mobility. 6 million students study overseas for tertiary education, which brings clear benefits, not just to the bottom line, but the transformative effects on students and the deep cooperation and greater understanding of each other. Despite the travel restrictions currently, the desire to study overseas has not waned. That transformative effect that you get from being fully immersed in another country's culture cannot be replaced by digital alternatives. We see commercial organisations monitoring the opinions and expectations of students globally on studying abroad during this time, and the evidence shows they still want face-to-face interaction. They're content with the current fixes in place for now, but indicate they want on-campus experience. So when travel restrictions are lifted, student mobility will continue to be a key element of global higher education. There has been discussion about student mobility being concentrated to regional areas as a result of COVID-19. And although we may see some students taking up places at overseas campuses or studying closer to home, it's likely a trend that we would have seen anyway due to several things. First, being in their home country, the provision improving, and that's supported by governments reducing the number of study abroad scholarships to encourage students to stay at home. The second is about investing in education infrastructure to position themselves as an education hub for the region. And we've seen that clearly with countries such as Malaysia and Singapore. And thirdly, previous economic issues have already led price-sensitive students to look at more cost-effective study opportunities, with many considering overseas campuses as well as enrolling at universities. So current travel restrictions may see students considering this option, but when restrictions are lifted, this regional interest will continue to develop as it was. The second and final part of international education I'd like to address under the area of international studies is the delivery of teaching. Again, we have seen universities put in place interim measures with courses being delivered remotely. And although the adoption of online solutions in recent months has been unprecedented, those solutions are not new. The activities and tools being adopted are not new. Online learning such as MOOCs were already on the rise. According to a report in January last year, with more than 900 universities around the world offering MOOCs, global MOOC enrollment sharply increased and exceeded 100 million students for the first time. We saw growth in enrollment and the number of degrees being offered. This is a picture that shows a continued growth in mainstreaming of online learning, this and the increased integration of online learning and on-campus provision for many institutions. That said, it is unlikely that we will see or even the majority of courses being delivered online for the foreseeable future. Again, when we look at what the global student surveys are telling us, a large percentage of students had no interest of studying online. Not only is it difficult to see how you would replicate the STEM and more practical courses, but students go to university for the experience, the peer-to-peer interaction, or the après study, if you will, the student life. This cannot be substituted digitally, and there is too high a value put on this aspect of global higher education to see this change. Clearly, there are many aspects of global education I haven't touched on, and I'm sure we'll look at this during the debate. But I'd like to conclude by saying fear and unpredictability often leads us to look for the known, the familiar, and what's comfortable. COVID-19 is nothing if not creating uncertainty, and once we start to understand more about the pandemic, a vaccine is found and the various restrictions are lifted, most importantly, the flight restrictions, that human nature will take over and life will revert back to as it was. We may be more informed and greater insight, which will help in the normal development of institutions, but it will still go back to the fundamentals of global higher education. So I urge you to vote that COVID-19 will not change everything in global higher education, because it's not changing everything, but accelerating what was and is already happening and would have continued to happen, albeit at a slower pace. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Charlene. I'll try not to say how much I agree with you. As I hand over to the seconder to the proposition, Nigel.
Thanks very much, Kevin. And Charlene's done a good attempt at trying to kind of muddy the water and confuse things. I think Sally made very clear points that this crisis has very adversely impacted university finances. It's accelerated remote learning. It's changed the role of universities in R&D. Clearly, the big question is, how permanent will those changes be? And I think Charlene's attempt is to say, well, it'll all go back to normal fairly quickly. And to the extent that it's not quite the same as it was before, it's going back to the trend it was already on. And I think this is fundamentally wrong for a couple of important reasons. The first is, I think we have to kind of understand the scale of the crisis, which I think is completely unprecedented. So if we look back in recent history, we had the terror attack in 9/11, we had the assaults on Indian students in Australia in 2008, we had the removal of the post-study work rights in the UK. Each of those had a very negative impact on enrollments in the country itself. Similarly, we've had shocks that emanated in sending countries, the Asian crisis, the SARS crisis. And that also had an impact on the number of students that were going out. But the key thing was none of those shocks was global. Each of those shocks affected only one country or one region, and they didn't have a big enough impact to change the global trend. So mobility just continued to grow year on year. COVID-19's, I think, unique in two important respects. Firstly, it's impacted every country and every region virtually simultaneously, with a lag of literally just a few weeks. The second is it's delivered a very, very negative supply side shock it's made the universities of Australia, UK, and other countries much less attractive as study destinations because of the way the crisis has been handled and the fear of the unknown. And at the same time, it's delivered a huge economic shock. It's pushing the world into a global recession, and it's reducing not just the ability of students to pay, but it's having a significant impact on government. So if we look at the recession that's building everywhere, what we're seeing is huge spikes. I mean, levels of government deficits that were not even seen during the financial crisis. The median public debt to GDP ratio next year for the OECD will be 100%. 100%. That would mean that no one in the OECD would even be entitled to join the Eurozone under the old convergence criteria. And as you get falling tax revenues and ballooning budget deficits, public universities will bear the brunt of this, because they will not be prioritized in the way that the health service will be. So I think what we're going to see is this very, very strong negative supply side shock, negative demand side shock, lasting for a long time, for a number of years. And so the things that we're doing now to cope will gradually become embedded. They're not a one-off, as Charlene says, rightly at the moment, they're a short-term fix, but they won't be a short-term fix because this is going to continue. The economic crisis will get deeper, and COVID-19 itself is not over. Despite lockdowns ending, we're confidently anticipating that will be second and third waves of infections around the world. Just as there was, if you look back at the Spanish flu, that wasn't over in a year. That was over in a number of years. It's been airbrushed from history because people don't want to remember, but there were repeated waves of infection. The other thing I think we need to think about is, and this is my final point, is I think COVID-19 will also have a profound effect on perceptions of climate crisis. What this crisis has shown is that with the lockdowns, we can address the climate crisis. We have improved air quality, we have reduced emissions. It's also proved it's possible to work without travel. And I don't think those, particularly if this goes on for 3 or 4 years, I don't think that the students of tomorrow will accept universities behaving in the way they used to, where they think it's absolutely fine to recruit students from the other side of the world, fly them over at a couple of tons of CO2 in each direction, have their staff traveling constantly. I don't think that will be acceptable anymore. And I think that will have a profound and lasting effect. So I would say we're deluding ourselves if we think this is not going to have a persistent, lasting, it's like I'm being sort of going from side to side. I think it's very clear this shock will be profound, lasting, and it will transform higher education in a way that we can't yet predict.
Thank you, Nigel. That's very interesting.
Wrong, but interesting.
I just want to make one comment about Spanish flu being airbrushed from history. What's happened once, I would assume, could probably happen again, but that's another matter. I'm giving too much to the opposition here. Let me pass on now to the seconder to the opposition and the last panelist to speak, Winnie.
Thank you. The proposers of the motion labored on the financial crisis caused by COVID-19, and more specifically to the higher education sector in this particular debate. The COVID-19 pandemic might have provided the world more information about funding in global higher education. A Google search of the following keywords, COVID-19 changes global higher education funding, gave us 27.1 million results yesterday afternoon. That represents an increase of 32% more results with the words changes included. Does that mean changes in how global higher education funding are forthcoming? Question mark. The proposers argue that the COVID-19 pandemic changes everything in global higher education. Are you really convinced? The COVID-19 pandemic does not change everything in global higher education. Let's start with who we are in the global higher education. Yes, people. Not just any people, but those who have earned their places to study, work, graduate, lead, manage, and govern. The human race is very, very capable. As far as survival is concerned, the global higher education knows what crises and challenges are. In the past 25 years alone, we have experienced the Asian financial crisis, SARS, global financial crisis, H1N1, MERS, the list goes on. Of course, COVID-19 is of a completely different nature and scale. We have witnessed some incredibly amazing collective actions in the global higher education sector. We have also witnessed losses of life as we follow the news and data religiously on a daily basis. Does that mean everything in global higher education have changed? No, it does not. Let me focus on two core missions of the global higher education and elaborate. Teaching to enhance student learning is a core activity in global higher education. A survey of 10 out of 10 institutions before I come on this debate shows that teaching load as a working title is still widely used in university annual financial planning processes. Teaching is a privilege. Teaching is an opportunity to improve the intellect of individuals. Teaching can be fun and inspirational. It is not a burden. It should not be associated with load, a heavy load or light load. Teaching is a privilege to impart knowledge, to debate topics, to interact with students. One of the proposals mentioned technology-enhanced learning, blended learning, flipped classrooms, and learning analytics to enhance learning outcomes. They have been around for decades. They only come into the limelight when COVID-19 hit the world by surprise. The first, Sally, the first proposer, actually mentioned about, we need to do this, we need to do that, but it's a wish list, come on. We have heard this all before. There might be less reluctance in a conversation of blended learning now in the corridors and in the different meeting rooms in universities. But will it really change how teaching is done in the coming years? Research, another important mission of global higher education. How many institutions in the global higher education sector at the moment question the one-size-fits-all formula they use in promotion panel amid the COVID-19 pandemic? Changes in teaching, learning, research, reward, promotion, structure, culture, processes of how we do things, systems, change everything in global higher education. If not, the changes argued by the proposers so far are reactions to survive. It's a wish list that we want to see because we wanted to see it and we talked about it for a long time. Let's face it, we're human beings. We love the same old, although we are very creative. We are creatures of habits. We are not hardwired to enjoy change at all, let alone changes everything in the knowledge sector called global higher education. To conclude, I also urge you to vote against the motion.
Thank you very much, Winnie. Thank you to all of our panelists. That was very, very interesting. I think some interesting economic points put there. I wonder whether, when I throw it open now to the attendees, don't forget you need to raise a hand and then I'll pick you up and speak to you on the screen here. I wonder whether we're not neglecting some of the human elements, that human beings are terribly resilient and we do forget things very quickly. In fact, the older I get, the more I forget more quickly. Anyway, let's hand over to some of our distinguished attendees who I've been chatting with whilst listening to everyone. Now, attendees, could you please use the raise hands little icon, which should be somewhere at the bottom of your screen, and I will then choose you to make your point within 10 sentences after introducing yourself and where you're speaking from. So attendees, over to you. I've got no hands yet. Wow, you've been stunned into silence. Can't believe that. Come on, guys. Somebody must have a point to make. Peter, can you check the raise hands thing is working with everyone?
Yeah, I think they're a little bit shy at the moment. I think maybe another round of comment of the debaters or something might persuade them to come in. But I was seeing the raised hand just now, and the last hand quickly went down when you started. So I think they're really shy.
There are no raised hands at the moment. So how are we going to handle this? Well, I'll tell you what. How about I pick on someone? I'll try to pick on people that I know well. I can see Bernadine is there. Okay. Bernadine, how about I've just clicked on allowing you to talk. And for some reason, that doesn't appear to be working either right now.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Hi, Bernadine.
Okay. Hi, it's great to see all of you. And I thought it's something that I cannot miss. So I was very happy to be here in the session. Yeah, I would just like to say that my first gut instinct was, of course, to agree with the proposers. Because certainly we see things are being done different. But the point that was made was that many of the things that are being done were thought of before. So now the panelists have made me more confused than ever. So I'm not entirely sure whether I'm sure that it's right. But I would like to ask the question as to whether we expect the effect to be as long as Nigel suggests, that it would be a matter of a few years and things become embedded.
Okay, I will leave your question to other attendees rather than panelists who might want to pick that up, Bernadine. But thanks for kicking us off with that comment. I'm just going to ask now for others to put their hands up. I saw one hand go up and then it immediately disappeared whilst Bernadine was speaking. If that doesn't work, then I will have to pick on someone. Yes, Harvey's. Hi, Harvey's.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right.
We can't see you, but we can hear you.
That's all right. Okay, I'm from Malaysia, from University Kebangsaan Malaysia. All right, I'm from the international office. Okay, actually, I like the opposite ideas. I also can take the changes as well, the proposal. Well, personally, I think it has to go both ways. I don't really agree that it changes everything, but for short term, yes, we do change, just to probably to fit in what is necessary to do. But I do believe that even though the technology is there, the human touch cannot be replaced by technology. You need to have something there. I mean, we are building human capital. We are developing global citizens. So for global citizens, they need to experience certain things physically. So online and physical has to work together here. It cannot be totally online. It cannot be probably totally physical. But of course, many of us would like the face-to-face, the physical thing, because the students will learn better, or because they're able to touch and feel and to see things clearly. But if we want the students to improve or enhancing their skills, their soft skills, the physical part is important. But online is more on programs to understand about the program. But in experience wise, as what Charlene says, it is important where they need to be there to experience. Of course, if we want to change it in like we have a virtual, how we want to put the virtual to be more impactful, so that it be more memorable for students, so that they can really learn. How we want to put that in terms of reality and visual.
Okay.
It is kind of hard. I think that's about it, Kevin, for now.
Thank you, Hafiz. Very, very interesting points. You've given me an opportunity to point out that this is one of a series of 7 of these debates that will be going on through the summer and into the autumn. And one of the topics I seem to remember that's coming up is just what you raise about the importance of, if you like, the human touch, the soft skills, being as important, if not more important than discipline learning. I've always taken the view that declarative learning, knowledge about facts, can be delivered online, that's easy. But contextual learning has to be done face-to-face in the environment. And procedural learning can also be taught online. But ultimately the test is how all that operates in the context of the real world. Thank you. Okay, let's have some more hands, please. Yes, Iskandar, welcome. Iskandar, I've enabled you.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, a bit. You're a bit light, so if you get a bit closer to the mic, it would help.
Hello, is
Hi.
it okay? Yeah, so I'm Iskandar Siregar from IPB University in Bogor. Hi, Mandy. Hi, Nigel.
Hi.
I think we met last time in Japan. Yeah, so I'm looking at the, let's say, learning pathway for a student. Yeah, so, okay, there are at least 5, for example, so students should be in the class. So the proposer said that they can be replaced by the online or blended learning. So the changes like that. In the lab work, so there's still a lot of problem here, especially courses that require hands-on or skill. Yeah, and then the third one is regarding the co-op placement, for example. Students need to experience this one as well. So I don't know whether the industry is ready to receive students. Yeah, this is relating also to the fourth one on the international experience. So a lot of now, I think will be 1 or 2 years travel restrictions still be there, and student could not go, to do a mobility program. And the last one, how to secure that student working together in interdisciplinary team. Yeah, so online or virtual can be tried, but you know, intercultural relation is very important to increase the student competence. So in this case, maybe we should find the best way. Yeah. So yeah, let the opposer and the proposer to decide, or the audience in this meeting. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Iskandar. How about some more people raising your hands? We have some Russian colleagues. I was going to say you've come a long way, but obviously you haven't. You're at home. But we would love to hear from you on your perspective in relation to this. So please feel free to raise your hands. Failing that, Charity, I said hi to you earlier on in the chat. We've got Dr. Salman raising his hand. So Dr. Salman, your mic is open.
How are you?
Hi.
Okay.
Yes.
I am Dr. Salman Boussaid from University of Bahrain. This is nice to meet again with Dr. Kevin, but now online, not at University of Bahrain. I agree with the statement that education should develop after Corona, but there are parts that there will be no firm confusion related to credibility, the development of affiliation, management, academic, and vital communication with the students.
Okay.
Thank you.
I think it's a very good point and very succinctly made. Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Salman. Ladies, we've had gentlemen so far, and I would not wish to be accused of misogyny or anything else. So I would be very happy to hear from some ladies amongst our attendees. If you would like to raise your hand. I was trying to, oh yes, thank you, Nurhaiti. Your mic is open. Thank you very much.
Hi, good evening. This is a very good session, and I think this is the first time that I found a debate online with a proposer and opposer, both sides. So it's a very good idea. Actually, I typed my question. How do you feel about humanizing the virtual engagement for international higher education? How do you humanize that? And how might we do this? In Europe, for example, students highly appreciate the Erasmus program, whereby they can go to the country, exploring cultural diversities, tasting different food, embracing different sorts of what nature has to offer with the various weather, etc. So I'm calling from University Technology Malaysia, UTM International Office. So I'm looking forward to some ideas on this. Thank you.
I'm just going to say, Norha, as a real fan of Malaysia and Malaysian food, just the mention of Malaysian food made me feel
know. So many people said the same thing about food. So, you know, that's something that we're missing out about that when we do virtual engagement. There's a lot of things that we're missing out when we do things virtually, really. I
think you've answered your own question. Thank you. Let's move on now to next hand up. It would be nice to have another lady. Vicky. Great. Vicky, I've opened your mic.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, very well.
Right. Hello, I'm Vicky Lewis. I'm an independent consultant based in the UK, not a million miles away from where Charlene is currently sitting, I don't think. And
I hope.
And I also happen to be a linguistic pedant. So when I read the motion, the COVID-19 pandemic changes everything in global HE, I homed in on that little word, everything. And my instinctive reaction was, no, it does not change everything because there are some fundamentals that remain. And I think, as Charlene said, the desire to travel and to experience other cultures will always remain. It's a sort of natural human instinct. And it may manifest itself, it will certainly manifest itself in different ways in light of the current crisis and in light of the ensuing global recession. But I think it won't disappear, that it is human nature to find ways to satisfy that desire to travel and to experience other cultures.
Thank you. And as one linguistic pedant to another, I kind of agree with you, but the everything was deliberate. It's fixed, you see, because the master of debates is very much with the opposers here rather than the proposers. Okay, can I ask for another hand? I've got Liesa. I hope I pronounced that right, Liesa. Your mic is open.
Yes. Hi. Hello. I'm Lisa. I'm ex-student of University of Newcastle. So I agree with Winnie points that they said that she said that we, teaching is a privilege and a human touch, and then being in the class is not replaceable. But I also agree with Dr. Sally that say that, a blended learning is a feature. What is my point is that some students are actually prefer to go to to Australia to actually to explore, to experience the life over there. But some students who are actually do not have the financial capabilities, meaning like they prefer to actually to get their degree, but at the same time they prefer to save money in rather than actually spending for rental, for transportation over there. So I guess it's a questionable. I think for me, I think it's good to actually to have a flexibility, meaning maybe some student can actually stay, go explore to the fly into the campus. Some student can actually do blended learning at home in home country because they can actually save money and they still can get a high quality education.
Thank you, Lisa. And I'm not surprised you would agree with Dr. Sally. Did she fit you up to actually say that you would support her during the debate? But I think you make a very good point. Sorry, I'm just being flippant. Okay, Thank you very much. Now, anyone else like to put their hand up? Can I just ask, Barbara Igel, I unmuted you just now, but the hand has disappeared. Can I just unmute you and ask if you have any point to make, Barbara? You're unmuted. No, okay. I'm going to come down to Musbal. You're now allowed to talk.
Yes.
Hi.
Hello. Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, hear you very well.
Yes, I am Musbal Akaji from University of Ilorin, Nigeria. I agree with the proposal. There is no way COVID-19 will not affect mobility of students from Sub-Saharan Africa to Europe and America. The pandemic had actually affected nations' budget, and there will be no money to send them to Europe or America for higher education. Additionally, the infrastructure for Wi-Fi is low, very, very low. So this type of engagement through Zoom is limited. You have so many places where you cannot reach, where there is no network. So I agree with the proposals that the pandemic will actually affect mobility of students from Sub-Saharan Africa to Europe and America. Thank you.
Thank you. You make a very good point, and that perspective is very welcome, because we tend to assume in some parts of the world that there is access to, broadband internet, and it's reliable and so on. I think you make a very good point. Thank you very much, Musbal. I'm going to go to Janet now. Janet, I've unmuted you.
Thank you, Kevin.
Hi.
And hello, everybody. It's great to watch this debate. And I've got a question to all of the both sides of the debate, the proposers and the opposers. As Nigel eloquently put it, we've got significant disruption both on the supply side and the demand side of higher education. And I think the context is a big recession that the whole world is sliding into, and the IMF describes as probably as severe as that of the 1930s. I wonder, what is the way out? Are we likely to see a kind of Keynesian style of economics where the state appears as a big investor, try to correct what is happening in the space of higher education? Where would the most significant changes happen? Are we likely to see tuition fees being introduced in countries that do not currently charge tuition fees? And also, where is the greatest innovation going to come from? What is likely to change most significantly in response to the crisis and in response to these seismic shifts both on the supply side and the demand side?
Thank you, Janet. I'm not going to give them the questions, but I'm going to let those questions hang there for the attendees to consider when they come to vote. I have two more hands up, one from Ellen, another from Vahid. I'm going to begin with Ellen. I'm just clicking the button. You are now able to speak, Ellen. Ellen Salak, are you with us?
Yeah. Hello.
Hi.
Do you hear me?
Yes, very well.
Okay, thank you. First of all, I would like to thank our distinguished proposers and opposers for giving us their insights on whether COVID-19 has an effect in our higher learning institutions. My school, actually I came from a school, Emilio Aguinaldo College, wherein we are offering majority of allied health programs like medicine, nursing, physical therapy, medtech, etc. Now, in the Philippines, we are already proposing this flexible learning, wherein there are 3 options, whether you go offline, online, and blended. However, in our case right now, we cannot still let the students come in or have the face-to-face instruction. Our challenge now, although we can deliver the lecture components of several courses or subjects, our big challenge is how to deliver laboratory components of those courses in the allied health, specifically medicine, nursing, wherein they need to have patients, wherein they need to touch the patient. Virtually, they cannot do that. So that's our big challenge on how to cope with this virtual learning, considering that allied health or those programs need patients. Of course, the dentistry, they need also a patient wherein they need to extract tooth or teeth. So if there is no patient, we cannot deliver the lecture. So probably you can also help us if you have good suggestions on how to deliver these laboratory subjects without using humans or patients. Thank you.
Thank you, Ellen. I'm going to go to one more speaker. Then I'm going to give each of our panelists 5 sentences to sum up their argument and to answer any of the questions. And I will do it in reverse order. So Winnie this time will be first and Sally will be last. Okay. So Vahid Biglari, I'm just going to allow you to talk now. You're the last attendee to speak before we go to the panelists and then the vote. So welcome. Vahid?
Hello.
Hi.
Thank you. I would like to thank everyone. My name is Vahid. I'm from University of Newcastle. So I agree with the proposer that COVID-19 will encourage or urge university to move to blended learning, but I don't believe that it will change everything, especially because the students still prefer peer-to-peer learning, and they would like intercultural student experience. Apart from that, there are some courses or physical activities like sports or labs that I don't know how it can be replaced in the online learning. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Another good question. Before I go to our panelists to sum up, if you go to the Q&A at the bottom of your screen, I think it's the 4th icon from the left, there are some questions there from Namonde Mabadi and from Nurayati Abdullah. If you have any answers to those questions, panelists or anyone else, please feel free to type them in under the Q&A. Okay, let's go back to our panelists for the summing up, and then we'll have our vote and see how open-minded our attendees are. Okay, let's begin with Winnie, who was the seconder to the opposition. If you can, Winnie, please, within about 5 sentences, sum up your argument.
As profound as the funding challenges posed by COVID-19, COVID-19 does not change everything in global higher education. As resilient and hardworking as we are in global higher education, COVID-19 does not change everything in what we're doing at the moment. To close, I urge you to vote against the motion.
Thank you, Winnie. And now I'm going to go to Nigel, who's smiling very sweetly there at the top of my screen. Nigel.
I mean, I think we need to be clear that probably no one around the world in this meeting wants higher education, global higher education, to change, but it's being forced to change by an extraordinary set of circumstances. I think that what we've done, as Charlene said, as an emergency measure, I think those changes are starting to get embedded in a much more lasting way. So a lot of the debates I'm in now aren't about, let's just get through this semester. They're about how are we going to make this work over the next 3 or 4 years. And I think coming back to Janet's point, I think the scale of the economic shock will mean that some of these changes just get locked down, because we won't be able to go back to the inefficient ways, or the rather ineffective ways of doing business that we used to do. And I think growing concern about the climate crisis will overlay all of that. So I think this is a turning point, and we won't go back to trend, as Charlene tried to argue.
Thanks, Nigel. That's very succinct and points well made. And Charlene, would you like to sum up the opposition in 5 sentences, please?
I'll do my best. I would say that the issues that people are saying are as a result of COVID-19 were already there, including universities' financial models, sustainability, environmental issues. They were all there before COVID-19. COVID-19 has just exacerbated those issues and put them under the microscope. And the innovation that's being used now in terms of digital alternatives, new ways of learning, blended learning, again, those innovations were there. They're just being accelerated in their use to deal with the COVID-19 pandemic. So I would urge you to vote against the motion.
Thank you very much. And last but not least, Sally, I'm going to come to you to sum up the proposition in 5 sentences. You're muted, I think, Sally.
The COVID-19 pandemic changes everything in global higher education, including how we look at our finance model, our over-reliance on international students, and our fixed way of doing things. The COVID-19 enabled us to have the opportunity to meet those challenges, to have open-minded, to access new ways of doing things. That's why we will see that those universities that are successful can survive through this crisis will be those who are open-minded, who are willing to change, and who are sort of develop systems that are adaptable and resilient. So please vote for COVID-19 pandemic changes everything in global higher education. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sally. And before we go to the final vote, I just want to thank everyone who spoke. Believe it or not, we were well into double figures, despite this being the first time, and probably the first time for some of us using Zoom in this way. I would also like to thank all the speakers, all the attendees who didn't speak. I want you to hold on, because we haven't got the results yet. And once we've got the results, we will move then to a more social, online social moment. So I'll hand back to Peter and Mandy then at that point. But first of all, let's deal with the results. I remind you that from the first poll, 81%, that's 58 people voted to agree with the motion. And 14 people, I wasn't allowed to vote, or it would have been 15, voted to disagree with the motion. So it was 81% for, 19% against. I'm now going to relaunch the polling, and I would like to see just how open-minded we academics around the world really are. So you have 1 minute to vote. Ooh, this is looking very interesting. Very tight at the moment, very tight. So if you haven't voted, important you put your vote in. I'm watching this live and it's really neck and neck. Very tight indeed. Look at the panelists squirming on your video screens. Okay, you've got 10 seconds left to vote. Come on, there's only 69 of you voted, and there's 87 of you altogether. Well done, that's a few more. That's 69, 71. I guess the others don't know. I'm going to give you another 4 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Okay, I'm ending the polling now. You'll be quite surprised at the result, which I will share with you now. 56% now agree and 44% disagree. So that's a kind of Pyrrhic victory for the proposers. But I think given the turnaround in the votes from the beginning, the opposers can claim the moral victory in relation to this. So there's no losers in the debate. We're all
rigged, I tell you.
So I'm now going to hand back control of this to if I can, to the AppliedHE moderator, who's now going to become host. Let me just say thank you so much, all of you, for joining. I hope you'll join some of the other debates that will be going on during the summer and the autumn. I've thoroughly enjoyed this. I've learned a lot. I'm actually multitasking electronically, which I'm always very challenged by, but seems to have gone reasonably well. Thank you so much for taking part. Thank you so much for attending. And once again, thank you to our panelists for making this a bit of fun, as well as a very interesting and very serious topic. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Peter, I've now made you host.
Yes, and we now go for some closing words to Mandy, but please don't go away. After this, we will do some more social stuff. Go ahead, Mandy.
Right, so I'll share my screen. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes, we can see it.
First, thank you everyone for the very exciting exchange of wit and words. I have learned a lot, and I hope that same is true for you. I'd like to express my deep appreciation to our speakers for their time and contribution, and also thank you, our great participants, for joining this inaugural event in such large numbers. I'd like to thank our hosting partner, the City University of Hong Kong, and our sponsor, Universitas Airlangga from Indonesia, for their valuable support. Well, this marks the end of our inaugural edition of the AppliedHE Squaring the Circle debate. We have many more events planned, like the one on the screen right now. On the 29th of June at 9 p.m. Singapore time, we will be hosting the second fireside chat. And the topic is Women are Powerful Agents of Change. Speakers will be confirmed in due time, and we will be sending our weekly emailers to keep you updated. So be sure to mark that down in your diary, 29th June, 9 p.m. Singapore time. On the 8th of July at 9 p.m. Singapore time, we will be hosting the first episode of Squaring the Circle debate. Today is the inaugural event. The plan is to host 6 episodes, 1 per month, and so we will call this Season 1, and the next one is known as Episode 1, a bit like Netflix. The series will last us till the end of the year, after which we will assess the demand. So the next SCD, as Squaring the Circle debate, is scheduled on the 8th of July with a motion, international students will become an endangered species. The Season 1, Episode 1 is also co-hosted by the City University of Hong Kong. Do write to me if you would like to sponsor the next season of 6 episodes or even individual episodes. You'll be really surprised at the affordability. The Season 1, Episode 1 Squaring the Circle debate will be moderated once again by the legendary debate master, Kevin Downing, from the City University of Hong Kong. In fact, he will be moderating all 5 episodes except for the one in September. And this is where our very own Peter Stack will make his debut as debate master. So be sure to mark the next SCD, 8th July, 9 p.m. Singapore time. In the meantime, do check out our AppliedHE Extra News website, where you can submit your institution's news and press releases weekly. We will promote them on the global stage as long as they are extraordinary stories, and this is a complimentary service. We're still running our AppliedHE Job Ready Rating pilot, so do drop us a line if you'd like to learn more about affordable strategies for global branding and marketing. And finally, we invite you to submit information about your institution's online degree programs as we plan to soon launch AppliedHE Online Ready, an authoritative information portal about high-quality online degrees around the world. This will enable you to promote your online degree courses in any language on the global stage. And again, this is a complimentary service. So as mentioned, there will be 6 episodes of Squaring the Circle debate, 1 per month, and we're also organizing 1 fireside chat per month to the end of the year. This is to ensure that we're constantly in touch with you and also as a form of continuity for our sponsors. You will note that they're all on Wednesdays and they're all at 9 p.m. Singapore time, twice per month to the end of the year. So it's really easy to remember. To mark it down in your diary, please. It's a date with AppliedHE every other week. This slide shows the date and motion for Squaring the Circle debate. And this slide shows you the scheduled dates for the AppliedHE fireside chats, again, all on Wednesdays and at 9 p.m. Singapore time. We will be announcing the speakers and topics very soon, so please look out for our weekly emailers. And last but not least, as you know, we are the new kid on the block, and we're very grateful for all the support that we can get, which is why I like to take this opportunity to acknowledge once again our very supportive sponsors. City University of Hong Kong, Universitas Airlangga from Indonesia, and Changzhou Christian University from Taiwan. A big thank you to all of you for the valuable support given to AppliedHE. All right, thanks very much, everyone. However, the evening is not over yet, so please do not leave the chat room. We want to experiment if we can organize a virtual networking atmosphere as creative as we can and as close as we can to a physical networking environment. We're still creatures of habit, as Winnie said. So we're going to open the room now so we can all take a Wi-Fi together and you can all chat with one another just as if you're in a physical room, but with a bit of improvisation and imagination. Like we'll play some music and the room is all yours, say for the next 15 minutes. Grab a glass of wine or a cup of coffee or tea, whatever suits your fancy, and have a great time. You can chat or leave your contact on the chat box for everyone or for your specific contact. And you can see each other, even wave at each other, so please be sure to turn on all your cameras. Of course, you're free to leave whenever you want to, but we hope you will stay to e-meet all your friends. So I'll now hand over to Peter to organize the Wi-Fi. Have fun.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the first thing I'm going to try is to give you music. Have I managed to do that? I hope so. And then I'm going to try and upgrade everybody to panelist. And there's a lot of you, so this is going to take a little bit of time. And I will see if the system crashes. If it does, that'll be an achievement. We can have something to talk about to tech support tomorrow. Here we go. It says about 60 to go of you. So please turn on your cameras and wave, smile, or quickly hide if you don't.
Hi, Lisa.
Come on.
Good to see you.
I don't know if I can make you speak
Hi,
right
Ellen.
away. That's my next thing. I'm just now pressing.
Hi, Bernie. How are you?
Hi, Bernie.
Hi, I'm Ellen Salak.
Hi, Iskandar.
Hi.
You're coming, Noor. Yes. Hi, Noor. Hello. You need to turn on your microphone, Noor. It's muted.
Yeah, and your cameras, please.
Lisa, you've muted yours as well. If you want to speak, just switch it on. Hi,
Oh, yeah.
Hi, Kevin. I've met you before.
Yeah, good to see you.
Good to see you.
I recognize
Charlene.
Hi, good to see everybody.
Ellie.
Hi, Vahid. Good to see you.
Okay, 49
Nur
seconds to
Hayati,
go.
Puan Nur Hayati.
Hi.
Hi, everyone.
Hi. It's so nice.
Good. Janet, is it morning where you are? The sunshine looks lovely.
Oh, it is. It's only Bristol.
Ah, right. Lovely. I'm coming back to Exeter at the end of next week.
Yeah, don't worry. We will live with the COVID. It will be there.
We're very much into the evening now.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've got no cases here for a couple of weeks in Hong Kong.
We got 2 cases, new cases today.
Yeah.
In Malaysia. Yeah, other than that.
What about everyone else?
Yeah, we got 400 something cases today in Hong Kong, but they are related to foreign workers, living in the dormitory.
They're immediately
community cases are not a lot.
They're immediately quarantined, aren't they?
Oh yeah. So basically, it's very controlled in Singapore. Yeah.
Local transmission here is 0. We had a few people, Hong Kong people, returning from studying in Pakistan on a plane a couple of weeks ago, who tested positive, so the whole plane was quarantined.
Anyway, guys, anyone wants to be a partner for
all.
University Kebangsaan Malaysia, get in touch with me.
Okay, great, Mandy and Peter.
Yeah, noted. Also, you can press gallery view, then you can see all the little faces. 60 to go.
All the little faces.
Not just one to speak.
Hold on. I want to take picture.
Yes, take a Wi-Fi, and in a minute I'll give it a try as well.
Okay.
Hi, Namondi.
Hello. Hi, Kevin. How are you?
I'm fine, and you?
I'm all right. Thank you. Lovely to see you after such a long time.
Yeah, you too. You don't look any older.
Hey, Nesta.
Well, what can I say?
Nestor, we met in
Thank
Taiwan.
you.
Hey guys, I've got to go because
I'm losing my internet.
It's only 3 o'clock here, and my boss is on waiting for me on another call.
Oh,
I've got to go back to work.
Thank you.
All right,
All
everyone.
Thank you. See you next time.
Bye. See you next time.
Bye,
Thank
everyone.
you, Mandy. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye, Mandy. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you, Mandy.
You meet so many
Bye.
people here. So national group here.
Yes,
Yeah,
lovely.
quite good,
actually.
I think.
Very
Very
nice.
good. Very good.
Yes, it's a very nice group of people from all over the place. All over
Yeah.
I think where higher education leads the way. We're better than governments even.
How are you doing with Wi-Fi, Peter?
Yeah, I've taken some. I'm doing good. But please stay on a little bit more. Figuring this out.
So everybody has to show your face.
No, we have one screen with all the pictures. There's a lot of shy people. Yeah, I've taken the Wi-Fi. So it's been memorialized. You have attended. Thank you very much. Really appreciate that.
Sally, did
Hi, Dr. Salman.
Thank you. Newcastle give out the backgrounds digitally?
Yeah. This
There's
is
lots of people
university's
with them.
official sort of Zoom background. Yeah. So there are a few that we can choose, but a majority of us like this blue sort of background. So you can see, we have he also have this background. Jose, Atta also has this background.
You have to teach me how to do that, Sally. I haven't got a clue.
Oh, is it? I'll teach you.
Very
Yeah,
nice.
you can have sort of very exciting photo. Yeah, behind you.
Yeah, like Nigel with a bunch of jumping or display of videos.
Where's
I
Nigel?
see Padmawati. Hi, Padma.
Hi.
Somebody brought their kid. Nur Hayati has her son. Hi. Very good. Future higher education leader.
Hi, Hero.
Hi, how are you? Sorry for bad connection.
Now you can see you very clearly now. That's great.
Thank you. Hi, Peter.
Who's that handsome young man with you, Noor?
Oh, there, Nur Hayati has 2 fans now.
Yeah, who's that handsome young
Yeah, my team just keep building up.
Hello, Bing Shu here from Singapore.
Bing Shu, hi.
Hi.
think she is my husband, in fact.
I had meal with Winnie in Newcastle. Now I have 3 meals a day here in Singapore.
Hi there.
With Sally.
You're looking after her very, very well.
Good, thanks.
Hi there, it's Silva here from South Africa.
Hi.
Oh, great.
Hello.
Can we see your face? Any way to switch on the camera? Oh, I see Mohammed Anis as well from Malaysia.
Hi, Peter. Hi, Mandy.
From
Hi,
KL,
everyone.
Bangalore. And Nestor as well. Hi, Nestor. Your internet has been restored. Great news. You're on mute, Nestor. You're on mute. We can't hear your lovely voice.
Oh, hi. You know. This is great.
Okay. Well, I don't know what we can help, but we got everybody on camera. Very proud of that.
I'm actually going to leave now, but I just want to say thank you to all of you for attending, and particularly those of you that raised your hand. And I hope very much you'll join the subsequent debates online and make them as lively as this one. Thanks to all of you and to the panelists, of course, and to AppliedHE for hosting. So good night. I have to get up early. It's gone.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks.
That's my bedtime.
Yeah.
It's 10.
Thank you.
Yeah, after 10 now. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much for joining
Bye,
us.
Kevin.
Bye,
Bye.
Bye.
Okay.
So happy to see such an international group here. So that means everyone is must be very interested in this topic. Yeah, because the reasons of the COVID-19 really sort of have a lot of impact on us. Yeah, I guess that's why all of you are so interested in this topic. Yeah, and ask also very interesting question as well. Yeah. So that is a really good topic, very timely topic.
Yeah, and very good speakers, of course.
Thank you.
So thank you for bringing on all of Newcastle. It seems half the Newcastle community is here. Participant number doubled. Thank you. All right. Where do we take it from here? Shall we slowly wish everybody good night or good morning or good afternoon and then turn it on?
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, everyone. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
See you next
I'll slowly turn it on.
Bye-bye.
Home safe. Switch off safe. Recharge your phones after this. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Okay, I'm gonna pull the plug. Bye, everybody. See you again soon. See you at the next one. Bye-bye. Oh, bye. Great to see you. Thank you, Dana. Okay, and I'm pressing the button. It's over. Thank you very much, Hero. Very much, Mandy, everybody.